everybody. We're filming today from Benton Guest House because we are currently experiencing an excessive heat warning and it is super hot outside, so we're taking a minute to enjoy the air conditioning that we recently got installed for our guests here during the summer. We'll have a video coming out soon covering some of the updates we've made to prepare the house for summer, just to keep going with the transparency and the work that we're doing on the house and for our visa to continue our life here in Japan. But I'm here to talk to you about today's video and just give a little bit of a disclaimer before you watch it. I actually filmed this video a few months ago when we were going through the boxes in another one of the unexplored rooms at the Ryokan. And after I slapped the editing together and sat down and watched it, it felt a little clickbaity to me. And if you know us and you know our channel, we really try to show our life here and what we're doing. And I really am not into any sort of clickbaity titles or thumbnails or that sort of thing. So I decided to just shelve this video for a little while. That was a few months ago, and I took some time to go back and re-look at the footage and put it together in a way that felt a little more in continuity with the rest of this channel and the kind of content that we hope to produce. So I tried to make it feel a little bit less like a treasure hunt and more like sorting through the items in our abandoned houses, as a lot of the rest of our videos have been. That being said, I do hope you like the video, so let's get right into it. Okay everybody, thanks for tuning back into Benton Homestead, where we continue to go through our 1940s built former Ryokan, which is like an inn that has been abandoned for about 40 years. Only one family lived here. As we've been going through everything remaining in the house, we've been piecing together their history and their story, and I am getting a little bit ahead of myself by coming in to start work on this room, but this is a room I've been really excited to start working on, and even though we still have other rooms that we're sort of in the middle of sorting through, I really just want to get a little going in this room. I think I'm going to start by just getting some garbage out of here. This closet I'd like to empty out, and that's mostly because there are a lot of mouse droppings and just some mouse smell in here. There seem to be a few nests. There does not seem to be any active nests. This house, having been abandoned for 40 years, seemed to have more issues in the past than it has now. But the mouse nest dirtiness remains. So I'm going to start by cleaning up the garbage and the mouse stuff and just make a first pass through. One drawer that I didn't expect to be so interesting is this makeup drawer, and on first look I thought it was just a bunch of clutter, but once I started digging deeper, look at the color on this one. Wow, this has her pin collection. That's interesting. Much like the vintage clothing, I really feel out of my element with all this old but just really cool metal makeup compacts. So just another thing that I didn't expect to have to learn about when buying a house in Japan. This might be fun to clean up and put on display at the guest house. Here we have 2 more boxes wrapped and ready to be mailed. And I'm not really sure why they were saving this box of ripped up pieces of cardboard. But again, we're not just going to throw that away to be burned by the municipal garbage. We can put that to use lighting the fires for burning biochar and other field burns that we might do in the future. Alright, I just got this one part of the built-in closet cleaned out. It was all boxes in there neatly packed. It looked like there had been a wasp nest in there at one time. but nothing had destroyed the boxes full of neatly packed clothes. I definitely don't have room yet to take all these boxes of clothes over to my other clothes room, so for now they're just going to go into here until I figure out how I'm going to learn about vintage clothes. I'll get more video of all of this once we're in a room that has better lighting, but this tin-lined tea chest has just immaculate vintage clothes in it. These must have been the former owner's parents' clothes. Just really cool hontens and clothes from many, many decades ago. I had a suspicion that we would find photos in this room, and I was not disappointed. These seem to be the oldest photos that we found in the house, including some photos of the house itself. And it makes sense that these are the oldest because I think the rest of the photos that we found are mostly belonging to the son, who is now in his early 80s, who we purchased the house from. And most of the items and the photos in this room seem to belong to his parents. Here we see some photos of the owners, which also gives us some insight into the original condition of the house. Here you can see the sign for the Matsuoka Ryokan and this white dog who must have been a beloved pet because they show up in a lot of photos. Here's another view of the front door of the house, which gives us some insight into what it looked like before just a few minor changes were made out front. And I really like this original version better. And here you can see a better view of what the original fence looked like. Someday we'd really like to get it back to this state. I think that this looks a lot more beautiful than the fence that we currently have. And these two photos also showcase the owner's apparently award-winning flowers, as some of the trophies that we found around the house mention these flowers, and there's probably 100 photos just of her flowers. That's pretty impressive, especially considering how expensive film photography must have been at that time. Here are a few more photos at the front door. We can see that the mailbox used to actually be on the front of the house, which is interesting. And I'm assuming that this is from a wedding that took place at the house. This was an event center, and we have a number of photos of weddings that took place here. This is the only one really that gives us some insight into what the courtyard looked like after they had built the new fence. So you can see that the fence in the background here does not have the tile roof. This is when our current gate was freshly built, as you can tell by that nice light colored wood on the left there. We're very thankful for these photos, not only just because they're cool, but so we can see how the house looked through the ages and its numerous changes that have taken place here. This is the last of the photos that I'll show because I know this shaky camera footage of photography is not really that interesting. I really do need to get them scanned. But these photos are of a wedding taking place in the main room of the house here. We have lots of photos of different events like this, and we actually have a big stack of these low tables in one of the back rooms of the house. So it appears that they would take down the sliding screen doors to make the big room even bigger, and then put the tables around the edge of the whole room to fit everyone inside. It's pretty cool. This photo in particular will be very important for our restoration process because the lower eave on the left-hand side there below the upstairs windows has been removed. The about the center of the photo where you see that circular window, that is apparently an original window that was in the bathroom and has now been blocked off by two outdoor little bathroom stalls that they built, and we plan to remove and restore it back to the original as well. So there's lots of little details in this photo from the house that we want to bring back to life. This is really awesome. So originally, the kotatsu heating tables would have been a piece of charcoal keeping warm underneath the table. They'd trap the heat in with a blanket. After that, they graduated to this sort of contraption, which you would plug in and it would heat underneath the table. And then the more modern ones that we see today have the heating bulb actually attached to the bottom of the table. So this one's sort of like an intermediary stage for the kotatsu heating tables. I really like the look of it. This cupboard in here has a lot of really cool things that I haven't gotten into yet. This is where some of the purse collection is, and a lot of the lady of the house's personal belongings. These are just a few of them. If I had to estimate, I think there would be a few dozen purses like this. A lot of this is jewelry and beauty items. Of course, we've got the cool old musical instrument here. This is so cool. Awesome. Here's a closer look at some of the sewing things. My uneducated guess would be that this is some sort of frames for making purses, perhaps, or frames for sewing something. Many pairs of these shaped socks that are for wearing with the traditional sandals. We have a small collection of some really interesting straw hats up here. This one is definitely hand painted. I've been saving anything that's paper and has nice designs on it. Whether it's valuable or not, I just really like the look of them, and I'm going to find some way to use them somehow. And we've also found some old banknotes, some more jewelry here, and this is a necktie holder or something for storage or wearing neckties. Even this fabric curtain hanging here over the closet is in nice shape, which cannot be said for most of the rest of the curtains in both of our houses. Okay guys, I'm very excited. As I continued working my way through the room, and I think at this point I've still only seen a little over half of it, everything just kept getting cooler and cooler. I found a lot of wild stuff yesterday. It was this bottom closet, as I'll explain, that had some of the most interesting things. And as I started going through those boxes, I suddenly felt like the items inside got significantly older. So in looking at some of the photos that we found here, it seems that the things stored in this closet were from, it seems like it goes back a generation. So for example, we found this very interesting device, which I looked it up online. It says it's a medical device. So we're going to assume this is not as creepy as it looks, but this is some sort of electric therapy device. But here's the coolest part. So this teeny tiny hole is what has me really excited, and it may end up to be nothing, but it's very intriguing. I realized a short time ago that the back side of these built-in cupboards do not go all the way to the wall. From walking around the outside and trying to figure out some of the expansion of the house and various remodels over the years, I noticed that where these built-in cupboards end, it extends about another 12 inches to where the room actually ends, leaving a sealed-in hollowed space. And as much as I was debating, for just a split second, smashing a wall or peeling up some wood, I thought, well, once I finally get around to clearing out these cupboards, maybe there'll be an entrance through the back. And sure enough, there is. Alright, I don't know how much of this we're actually going to be able to film, but I just pulled a little nail out, and this actually slides open like a door. So I'm trying to not get my hopes up that something's hidden in here, but this is quite intriguing. I think you would agree with me. Alright, we peeked inside using a cell phone so we could have the flashlight on the phone to look around in there. And there doesn't seem to be anything in there, but boy, this really is exciting. Let's take a look inside. So I'm using my cell phone here so it has a light on it. That's really the only option to see what's in this space. It's the width of about 2/3 of this room, and the depth is a little wider than my hand. So I'll show you from the outside. Now this down here, this is some of the wall plaster that has fallen off. This is the side that goes onto the bamboo. And this is the nicer side. So that has fallen off of the wall somewhere in here. And it goes up a long ways, as high as the stairs, I think. And over this direction it goes. It's hard to see on that side, but it goes to the end of the closet over there. Now, I spent some time looking through here. That is just underside of our living room. And it's pretty bare over there. It's hard to say what's under all of this that has fallen down. Probably nothing. We're seeing a foundation right there. So this is the beam that the stairs and the upstairs is built on. So it has a nice cement foundation here that it was built on top of. And then this is the inside of the plaster wall that runs up the stairway on the other side. So I'm going to try and turn the camera around and film the wall that is above me right now. Directly up, the light only goes so far. This is, I think this was the former exterior wall. I'm really not sure. Not sure exactly what we're looking at here. This is the original beam here. I can't tell exactly what that's sitting on or where this wood piece came from. So anyway, that's what's inside this little crawl space. Might not be super interesting to anyone else, but I'm just completely fascinated with it. So nothing to report except that this space does actually exist. And we found an entrance access with nothing super exciting besides the fact that the space just does exist. This is the hollow space from the outside, and I'm not sure exactly how we figured out that this space was here. I think we were just looking at the difference between the blue and the yellow and trying to figure out which of this was original wall, because this was an original outside wall of the house. And then I started looking at and thinking, well, why is that part blue? And most of the expansion or remodel areas are this yellow color. And so we counted the beams inside the room, because right inside here are built-in cupboards. And I counted 1, 2, 3 beams from the windowsill, and sure enough, that's where the room ends. So I went all around this little area to try and find a different entrance, and sure enough, it was there in the closets. So no hidden treasure, nothing like that, but it is an interesting space, and perhaps it was put there as an accident, or perhaps something was hidden there at one time. What do you guys think? You can see why I put this room as one of the options for doing our first YouTube live video, because there's just so much stuff here. This would be just an hours long video if I were to go through all of these boxes on video. I've peeked inside most of these. I honestly can't remember what is in all of them. Just everything was awesome. Awesome. That's great. That's cool. I'll use that. Somebody will love that. Now, on the topic of the YouTube live video, the reason that we're doing that is because we want to commemorate reaching the first of 2 milestones for YouTube monetization. We haven't reached the point where we're getting any sort of ad revenue or any income from YouTube yet, but that is a goal which we set out a long time ago when we first started our startup visa process. We wanted education and YouTube content to be a small part of our business income, partly so we could justify sharing all of this information with you guys. These videos are fun to make, but they do take a lot of work, and I really, really love looking back through our videos just because just the crazy pace that we're keeping. It's hard to keep track of everything that we've done in our short time here, but I'm getting off topic. So we've reached the first of 2 milestones, which means that we have the ability to do live YouTube videos and do the super chats and the super thanks. So not that I expect super chats, which apparently are a way to donate to YouTube creators during live videos to get your chat message bumped up on the chat list. I'm not really sure how it works. I don't watch a lot of YouTube live videos myself, so I think I need to do a little bit of research and sort of learn about it. Any insight into that would be great, but regardless, I'm really excited to do a live video. I'm going to try and schedule it when most of our active subscribers are available. So I know I've got some people watching from Japan, some from the US, some from Australia. So we're going to try and find a time that works for everyone so we can sit down and chat. We'll have the laptop and the phone so we can film and see your questions at the same time and just go through boxes together and talk and answer questions and take a closer look at things that you have found interesting over our last year or so of videos in Japan. So that'll just be a fun little way to get to know some of you more and chat in real time instead of just through comments and messages.